Good morning as folks are joining. Ooh, Apologies for our late start. We do have some news. Excel has been such an incredible partner in our translation, and we said that we'd love to see them on Thursday, April 18th. So we are worried that they will come tomorrow to the 9:30 call, which is not happening tomorrow. So we apologize for that. We are happy to have the commissioner here with us this morning. And we just wanted to do a quick, cover the budget. So yesterday, the Massachusetts House Ways and Means Committee released their budget proposal for fiscal year 26. And we did send out an email this morning that goes through kind of some of the highlights that the chairman shared in his letter. I think, we have many opportunities that we're going to go through the budget proposal. And remember, this is one step in the process. I think folks on this call, C3 was level funded at $475 million. There was a $15 million addition to get children off the wait list. So we will go through, you'll see in the email, I'll put the link in the chat so you can check it out. We have Mass Taxpayers Foundation will come to the 9:30 call. They are also having their own event, and then Strategies for Children and Neighborhood Villages will have a discussion. So we encourage you to go to as many of them as you can to learn about the proposal, and we will continue to keep you updated. So I'm going to turn things over to the commissioner this morning. We're so happy that you continue this monthly check-in with the 9:30 call, and we will have time for questions. So as the commissioner is giving an update, if folks have questions, you can either put them in the chat or message me directly and I can ask the questions. And also as our 9:30 call culture, to make sure that we're also showing some love and appreciation to the commissioner in the chat. So Commissioner, I will turn things over to you.
Thanks so much, Amy. Typically I usually come after our board meetings and do kind of a big update. And I thought we might do something a little bit different. So I know Eugenia will put in the chat the link to the board meeting, which you can watch. Mostly I want to say we were out at the Westfield Boys and Girls Club. It was last Wednesday. And we had an amazing tour of the program and got to see, again, some of the work of the agency to Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative classrooms, impact of the Early Education Out of School Time Capital Grant Program, staff accessing new apprenticeship programs and higher education opportunities, and just incredibly grateful to the Boys and Girls Club across the Commonwealth, who are amazing partners with us, and to the Westfield Boys and Girls Club for hosting us as well. I also just want to say a couple words about Head Start and the attack that's happening nationally on Head Start. Head Start is an incredible resource and infrastructure for Massachusetts. It's 11,000 families. It's about $185 million coming into the state. That is absolutely integrated, and I don't have to tell you because many of you are doing it at the program level, with our early education and care system. It's like the first and ultimate two-generation approach. When I go out and talk to Head Start programs, I almost always get to talk to parents who are now working in the program or had the opportunity by having their kids enrolled, not only to see their kids grow and thrive, but also to advance their own economic mobility. So we in this administration at EEC and in the governor's office are partners with Head Start, and the governor and her team are also working along with the federal delegation and advocating. And we should also say that right now it's just a usual chaotic floating of a proposal. There's no actual proposal. There's no actual federal budget that eliminates Head Start. So we will continue to track and we will continue to advocate for what's right for Massachusetts children and families. And any diminishment or elimination or change to the Head Start program is not something we in this administration believe, and we think it would have devastating and destructive impacts on our children, families, and communities. So to our Head Start colleagues, we are with you, and you are with us. So now I want to talk just a second about the budget. also. And for many of you may have seen the Globe story this week. Katie Johnston did a story on on sort of the income eligible wait list and the caseloads. And if you didn't have a chance to see it, it was actually in the printed edition above the fold in yesterday's paper. Um, and I want to talk about that for a couple reasons. One is they're doing a whole series on sort of the economy and competitiveness and what's happening in Massachusetts. And the Globe also recognizes that childcare is a critical aspect of that. So being on the front page, even though it's not great news, I will say I think she did a very good job, and we worked really closely with this reporter to try and get the story straight. We've been talking with many of you on the 9:30 call individually about the impact of the limit on income eligible vouchers, what that means for your programs and the families that you're trying to serve, and working effectively with the press to get a story out that's accurate is a really important part of making sure that the public, the legislature, and others in our community aware of this. So it started with many of you and our conversations about the impact, and landed on the front page of the Globe. And even though it's not a good story, we're still in a constricted situation on the income eligible wait list. I think making sure people understand why is a really important piece of that. So thank you to all of you for your help on that. Amy, I know you probably talked to the reporter as well. So it's taking all of us, including the fourth estate, the press, to bring awareness to what's happening in the early education space. So I want to end my comments with just talking a little bit about the budget. So Amy hit on a couple things. So as she mentioned, we are in the multiple steps of the budget process. But yesterday was a big, important piece of that, where the House Ways and Means Budget puts out their proposal. There will be amendments filed, and then their proposal will be final, and it will go on to the Senate, where then the Senate will propose theirs, and then they will come together. But there are several areas of concern for us in terms of what came out yesterday in the House Ways and Means budget, and I just want to highlight three of those for you. And then I'm going to actually just open it up after that for questions or comments too. So the first area is we already the governor's budget reduced our administrative line item by a fair amount. And the House Ways and Means budget yesterday reduced it by another $2 million. And I just want to say, from where I sit, and I'm sure I've said this to you before, people are policy. And much of the work we've been able to do at the department, is because of the incredibly talented team that we've been building. New divisions focused on family access, focus on research and data that brings transparency and information to the field in a brand new way. New fiscal staff who are working, new IT staff to try and fix some of our technology systems. And the level of funding provided for administration would not support even our existing workforce. So there would be a reduction in force if we aren't able to see an increase in that administrative line item.
And that's the workforce at EEC.
Our workforce, our team. And
Your
I think
team.
you all, I think you know how I feel about our team and the importance of what they do to lift up the field. So that is an area of significant concern for the agency. The second is that the House Ways and Means budget did not match the governor's budget in terms of caseload. So it's about $30 million below what we project is needed in next year to serve just the existing kids who are already with us in the caseload, and those we anticipate coming in through DCF and DTA. I don't know if anyone put the Globe story link in the chat, but it sort of talks about that. So obviously this is a very significant concern for us. We top priority is making sure that we can continue to serve into the next fiscal year all the children that and families we are currently serving. We would love to be able to add additional kids, but the House Ways and Means budget effectively underfunded the amount we would need for existing kids, and then put a separate line item, say, hey, serve new kids. That math will not work in terms of the our projected needs. And then the third area of concern is around the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative. This has been an incredible partnership, and for the communities that are experiencing it, we want to reach all of our gateway cities and eventually all of our communities. Partnerships between the district and community-based programs to create more universally accessible preschool, really focusing on consistent experiences in quality and professional development, and special education services for children in early childhood. Some really innovative and incredible things happening. And so we're really committed to expanding that program. And the House budget actually reduces even from the current level fund line item. So that is a third watch area of concern. All right, I'm going to stop there, but just end by saying it continues to be kind of an incredible time for early childhood education. And I want to celebrate a minute like the 9:30 call and however many wonderful people we have on this call coming together. And I was at
194 this morning. So
194. I was at an event earlier this week, just new spaces and voices and opportunities to talk about early childhood continue to be present, and we are at and that is a bright spot for us in this field. Continued recognition, level funding for the C3 program, despite some of the concerns. And I also know it's a really, really stressful time. I just feel like every program I'm out at, we're hearing about behavior challenges and staff stress, and our directors are in ratios of programs, and we're trying to get you to trainings for our new contracted providers, and you can't leave the programs because you're in ratio in the classroom. So I just want to recognize what a stressful time it is out there. And how grateful we are for the work that you're doing every day. You're holding our families, you're holding our educators, and we want to be holding you. So with that, I'm going to stop and see for the next few minutes if there's comments or questions or things you want me and the rest of the EEC team to know about what you're worried about. I shared my worries. Now you can share yours.
Thanks so much, Commissioner. And love this format. I think and appreciate what you said about kind of difficult times. We've heard, in the 9:30 call and our sharing the mic episodes that just even challenging behaviors, as you said, directors keeping things together. Okay, Diane asked about the grants, and I think that would be I'm assuming that's C3. And so what we know is both the governor and the House level funded C3 at $475 million. And so the House and the governor agree on that, and now it goes to the Senate. So the answer is we don't know because the budget's not final, but we see some good indication of agreement between the governor and the House. Donna Danette says, thank you for all that you continue to do for us, our families and children. As directors are proposing their budgets to board, I question the C3 amount is a prominent one. Any update on the formula changes?
Thanks for that question, Donna. So I'm going to be a little more optimistic even than Amy. I mean, which my team's here. My team's here. They may step in and like mute, but
optimism.
Yeah. So the legislature made this program permanent, and of course, it's always subject to appropriation. And then the governor funded it at 475, and the House Ways and Means included it at 475, while they took some pretty significant cuts in other places. And even in our conversations, like at the budget hearing and in with legislators, like you guys have done the work that has made this program recognized as a critical piece of the infrastructure. So I feel optimistic that C3 is going to continue. I think how it gets funded, is it fair share? Is it general revenue? There's going to be a lot of questions about it, but I think it is so broadly recognized as critical to the infrastructure and to what we've been able to accomplish as opposed to other states growing our system versus seeing it contract further. So I feel optimistic about C3. We are really committed to trying not to create big shifts in this program because I know it's been difficult over the years. We've been talking about consistency and stability. There are some legislative requirements for some changes to the program, but we are looking at things that we hope will be around sort of around the margins and improvements. With a level fund budget, obviously we can't make radical changes to the budget because we don't want to destabilize those who are already receiving the funding. So we do anticipate making some changes. They won't be until November. So you can take a look at this month's board meeting. It's the very last agenda item. We talked a little bit about sort of what some of the areas in C3 that we're thinking about. And I'm happy to have the team come and do a dedicated session here, Amy, to talk a little bit about the things that we've been hearing from all of you. I don't want to take up the rest of the time with that, but feedback from the field about where there are changes. But I think it's our intention to be compliant with any changes that are required by statute, but also try and make sure we're moving slowly, not to destabilize or make significant changes, so that as you are planning your budgets and hopefully planning to continue salary support for your teams, you'll be able to rely on C3.
Thank you for that. There's a lot of appreciation. There was one question I put in the chat that somebody sent me an email about. I'm gonna go to that first because chat is blowing up.
Yeah.
TQ unit is requiring one of my staff members to submit a social security number for certification. Is that old? Did I miss that? I just don't remember that being a requirement for other staff. I've always helped through the process. It was listed as optional.
Can we take that one offline?
Yes.
Can
I'll connect you. I'll
can you
connect
reach
you.
directly to Eugenia on that one, and we'll connect up to the TQ team. Most of you know we've been experiencing a backlog in the TQ team, so we have
Right.
temps that are helping us close that
Okay.
backlog. So there could be some confusion on that. So very, very
Excellent.
important that you let us know when if an existing practice seems to have changed.
And just a note about that. Often when we're doing Advocacy 101 or we're hearing from people, there is this feeling of like, I don't want to bother people, the commissioner, I don't want, and like we always say, like, you're not bothering them. You're giving them information because, so I would use that frame and appreciate you. And I think if you have questions, add them to the chat because even if we don't get them, we send the chat to the commissioner. Okay, let me go back. Good morning, dear Commissioner. Thank you for your work. I noticed you said in prior meetings that parents can't find childcare and shortage of providers. As a private FCC trying to enroll with the system with no luck because they're not taking new providers, I can say that we are here looking for families, many of us in a stressful time, licensed for 8 with only 2 enrolled. How can we get more visibility and share our professionalism and passion for the field?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think we've been trying to lift up family child care. It is the largest growing piece of our sector. We have some amazing innovations and incubations happening at Nurtury and thoughts about in other places to really lift up family child care. So if you have specific ways you think we should be doing that, we're going to be announcing new capital grants coming out for family child care, which will be an opportunity for us to lift up family child care as well. I know many of you are waiting on the regulatory change to increase
Yes.
the overall group size, which we just thank you for your patience because the regulatory process is not quick, but that is the only way to get that change affected. So we look forward to moving that forward as quickly as we can as well, but please be patient with us.
There was also somebody asked what TQ was. TQ is teacher quality. Is that right?
Qualifications. It's our teacher
Qualification.
qualifications
That makes
unit.
more
Mm-hmm.
sense. Okay. There's whoa, there's a lot going on in chat. Thank you, Commissioner Kershaw, for your updates. Can you explain a bit more about the potential cut to CPPI funding and if the 50 million from the unspent funds from prior fair share tax could support the cut? Amy Marissa, can you explain the amendment process a bit more? Okay, so I can take the second part and then I'll turn it to you. So in the House released their budget yesterday, the Ways and Means Committee. So now all the House, 160 members of the House saw the budget. So now between now and Friday at 5 p.m., everybody is working to get amendments, which means we saw that CPPI was at X amount of dollars, but we want it to be at X amount of dollars. So you need to work with legislators, with House members to say, will you sponsor an amendment that changes that. So Marissa reached out yesterday to all the CPPI grantees to say there was a cut. Can you reach out to your representatives and ask them to sponsor an amendment? And as Marissa put in chat, a rep said yes. A rep from Northampton, Sabadosa, Rep Sabadosa said yes. So she will be filing an amendment. Now, a lot of people file amendments. So we'll next week on the call, we'll go through them. They get bundled by category. And then when the House takes up their debate, they'll say, okay, if we have X more money to spend, how are we going to add some more money through the amendment process? Um, so we'll talk more about that, but now is the time to and we'll set up advocacy messages around that. So sorry, Amy, do you want to talk about any other parts of the CPPI?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say we are worried about the reduction in the House Ways and Means, but we are very early in the budget process, and so we don't know yet. We wouldn't start doing analysis of what the impact would be, but we know that it wouldn't support the existing grantees. But it's too soon for us to go forward. We hope we'll be successful either through the amendment process or through the Senate. And there is the supplemental fair share budget, which has some flexible funds, which we would be committed to using to support our CPPI program, which is a priority for EEC and for the agency. So we are really committed to CPPI. So we will use whatever tools we have to be able to maintain and hopefully grow that program, which has really been our plan. So, and certainly the governor's plan. So Amy will, I'm sure, keep you updated both on the budget as it moves and also the supplemental budget that is through Fair Share, which is another source of funding for CPPI and potentially other things like rates and other things. Yeah.
Right. Anna Teresa wonders, Commissioner, is there any funding for English courses for FCC educators whose English is not their first language? It would be great if we could do that. And then Kira shares an idea, and maybe that's why you raised your hand. We're getting together a Zoom call with local center-based programs
Love
and
that.
FCC programs to get to know each other so we can refer each other when there are openings.
What a
Um,
great idea. I love that. So we'll follow up with Anna. Can you just send us her
yes,
contact information so she can connect with Janet Montoya? Um,
excellent. Oh, great
and
idea.
I think there are some resources and classes. So if we make sure folks know about it. But yeah, it's going to take all of us working together. Things EEC can do and things you at the local
Right.
community. So Kira, thank you for organizing your local community. What a great idea! Because good for parents and also good for the providers. Yeah.
And Laura Fragamini adds, as a public preschool and CFCE coordinator, it's always a help to hear of openings. So please consider contacting your local CFC person and public preschool. Excellent. It's great chat today. Okay. Oh, Marissa also add that Rep Sabadosa also asked for a list of the current CPPI communities. So she's going to reach out to those legislators. So if you're a CPPI community, that might be, we can maybe follow up, Marissa, with another note now that we know. We've had great luck pairing family childcare with after school. We would love to look for opportunities of center-based programs and family childcare pair up. That was from Kelly from Charlestown Nursery. Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. There's with so many home-based providers underutilized due to the voucher freeze, is the state exploring partnerships or pilot programs with platforms to help match families and caregivers more efficiently. And with this, I think this local piece is probably more helpful than the state right now because you all know kind of real-time openings.
Right.
Um, Okay, there's lots of things and appreciation. Amy, it's 10 o'clock. I will connect you with the folks who, and we'll send you the chat. And so please keep the love and appreciation coming. But Amy, any final thoughts, as you kind of sit, and we also appreciate you and all the work that you're doing. I can't imagine running a state agency right now. And just kind of appreciate your steady stick together advice. But any other last words for today?
Yeah, just the usual, like take good care of yourself. I almost didn't, and then I got out for my morning run this morning and saw all the flowers are finally blooming, and I thought like everyone needs to make sure they're prioritizing time to take care of themselves. Like you cannot take care of other people if you're not taking good care of yourself. So please do that. Um, and stay together. And I'll see you next month. I appreciated the opportunity for more engagement, so we'll build that in going forward. Thanks, Amy, and thanks to you and your team for everything you're doing.
Thank you. And just we'll maybe put it in the chat, excuse me, in the next email around the 9:30 call. But our advocacy toolkit in our advocacy headquarters is another place to go. We have so much content. We also have Eugenia's email address on that page with her permission. And I think, that to make sure that we kind of take advantage of this kind of partnership and opportunities to connect with folks and really appreciate kind of getting to the right person to help solve any of the challenges. And just want to kind of reiterate what the commissioner said, like they need to know what you're experiencing and don't assume that they already know or somebody else told them about it. All right. So today is Thursday, so we will have tomorrow no 9:30 call. We apologize again about our mix-up around the translation, and we will see you next Monday on the 9:30 call. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks again to the commissioner and the team from EEC.